Uy, my birthday. So we don't have, no, it's only the cream and all. How about laser? Do you have any scenario that could apply for provision 1? And I think the OR team as well. Do you have any scenario related to provision 1?
Wala, ma'am, wala.
None?
None.
Okay. So in here, in provision 1, so Sarah fosters trust, inclusivity, and patient-centered care, which are the fundamental of our ethical nursing practice. So again, she prioritizes patient cultural beliefs and religious beliefs. So you have to respect that. Okay? So next is provision 2. The nurse's primary commitment is to patient, whether an individual, family, group, or community. I believe it's understandable. Our priority is our patient. But does it apply to us here every day? No. The priority is what? Doctors? Nurse. Right? But at least for us to be aware that that is part of provision 2 of nursing code of ethics, which is, I know sometimes as nurses, we know how to stand for our patients. Sometimes we fought with our physicians. Am I right? Yes. Yes. Why? Because in your moral principles, it is there that you know what is right for the patient. And that's a good thing. Whether the doctor will abide you or not, but still, you did not forget it as a nurse. Because some of us sometimes, we just say yes to the physician without even thinking, because it is doctor's order. Not thinking that it's be bad for the patient, and even be bad, I mean it's bad for you, right? So again, reminder that the nurse's primary commitment is to patient. So sample of it is, for example, this one, a nurse is caring for an elderly patient who is recovering from surgery. The patient's family insists on making all medical decisions, even though the patient is alert and capable of making their own choices. So the family pressures the nurse to withhold certain information about the patient's condition because they believe it will cause unnecessary stress. So do you encounter this kind of scenario? Dermatology nurses?
Encounter ka na niyang ganyan.
Right? You remember scenario if, you know, the doctor will call the father and the mother outside the room to discuss certain things?
Yes.
Okay, it applies to us. So even if this is a hospital setting, but in our daily scenario, it applies as well. So simple as calling the father, calling the partner. That, for example, is one instance that the doctor called the husband because her wife has warts. Right? So those kind of scenarios. So it applies for provision 2. So what you call this? The doctor talked to the husband about the possible causes of her wife's warts and vice versa. So that is a sample for that here in our clinic. But here, the nurse respectfully acknowledges the family's concerns but ensures that the patient receives all the necessary information to make an informed decision about their own care. So the nurse advocates for the patient's autonomy while also providing emotional support to the family. Did you understand the provision 2? Okay. Forward to provision 3, the nurse promotes, advocates for, and strives to protect the health, safety, and rights of the patient. So we are an advocate. So sometimes we forget this. So this is an example. So a nurse working in hospital notices that a patient's medication dosage seems too high based on their condition. So the medication was prescribed by physician, but the nurses knows that administering it could put the patient at risk for overdose. Anybody who can relate this in our setting?
Situation in the clinic.
Yes.
Maybe doctor give pain for patient, and she's built understanding. She's waited at night. She's waited at morning.
Okay.
When decision with us, she's known she's at morning only.
Okay.
When I read, she's pain.
Mm-hmm.
She was waited at night, and I tell her, maybe you don't understand the doctor. Should be waited at night.
At night.
Yes.
Correct. So simple as the patient, as per Ms. Isa, the patient applied the night cream in the morning. So what could be the possible reaction if the cream is applied in the morning rather than night? What could be the possible reaction? Derma nurses? Asthma, pigmentation, exactly. Okay, so those kind of cases, when you notice that the patient wrongly applied the creams or wrongly injected something, so it is your action to correct your patient. It's not because the doctor said. Because some of us here will say, the doctor said, Ma'am.
No, maybe the patient didn't understand it.
Yes, can be. That's why you have to be the advocate of your patient. That is the provision. So in here, the sample was, so what did the nurse do? Instead of administering the medication, you can sit down, Lourdes. Instead of administering the medication without question, the nurse follows ethical and professional responsibility by double-checking the order and medical history. Number 2, consulting with the physician to clarify the dosage. Number 3, advocating for patient safety by suggesting adjustments if necessary. And number 4, reporting the concern to the appropriate department if the issue is not addressed. This is really applicable to our department as well. Okay, some of medications, some of the creams, even the lignocaine cream. Okay, did you know that lignocaine cream does not necessarily you have to apply many, like half of the jar to be applied to the skin? Are you aware of it? Right? So the dosage of the lignocaine should be equivalent to the milligram or to the kilogram of the patient. Okay, do not put, if it's equal to, do not put the whole jar on the face. My goodness. It's difficult to remove as well. And it will cause
Skin irritation.
the worst is anaphylactic. Okay, so the proper way to apply lignocaine cream is to massage them first and then reapply enough, not reapply the whole jar. Goodness, guys. Okay, that's the proper way. You have to be very careful with the lignocaine here because I'm sure the senior nurses knew about issues, about problems with putting a lot of lignocaine. Okay, so what is the first assessment or the first question the nurse should ask the patient before you apply lignocaine? Okay, so that is your automatic action, the allergy first. Okay, so a good nurse should do this, double check, talk with the physician. If it's wrong, you feel like it's wrong. Okay, and if it's not addressed, then report it to the department. Report to the nurse supervisor or nurse manager. Okay, clear, guys? So number 4 is the nurse is responsible and accountable for individual nursing practice and determines appropriate delegation of tasks consistent with the nurse's obligation to provide optimum patient care. This is again applicable to each of us. But what is the meaning of this? That each of us is responsible and accountable for our actions, not to pinpoint others. Make sure when you pinpoint others, You basically or literally do the A to Z for that patient before you pinpoint it to others. Because some of you guys here will say, it's because of her. I just received like that. Come on. Did you ask yourself? Did I do the right thing? Did I assess properly? Okay, so again, it is part of the code of ethics that you are accountable to every action you apply to your patient, not to pinpoint it to others. Others has the problem, yes, but ask yourself first. And we forgot it. Even me. In order for you to be saved from the mess, from the issue, you pinpoint to others. But never ask yourself,